Hello Aquarius, I am Ulrich, I am a Lenormand card reader, and today we will do the philosophical financial card reading for the sign of Aquarius for the month of March. As always, we will do 4 card readings for the sign of Aquarius for the month of March, and these are based on the natural elements in your astrological chart, or for some of you on your time of birth. These basic elements are air, earth, water, and fire. Now, the 4 objects that you always see on my table are directly connected to those elements. So you choose or you pick one that you think relates most to your personality, or you choose one you feel most comfortable with. This object of your choice, it should or it will relate the best to your current situation. However, if the object and the related video does not match your first choice, please check the other videos that are immediately connected in the same session. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. Anyway, the matches represent the fire element, the stone represents the earth element, the aerosol sprayer represents the air element, and the shell represents the water element. So Aquarius, here we go for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. And I want to add, if you have questions, you can always post them in the comments below. So Aquarius, here we go for your reading. Hello Aquarius, and welcome to the shell or the water group. As your first card here, we see the card of creativity. What does this card tell us? Well, it tells us we live in a world where we can buy everything. And it also tells us that in the current society, we live in a society that actually suffocates our creativity. And it also suffocates your wallet and your imagination. And in the end, in many cases, we pay for lack of creativity. For instance, if you need to, let's presume a birthday is coming up in your family, and you need to buy a present, and mostly we are looking around for a box for putting the present in. But probably if you want to, you have some recycled materials there in your home, and in a few minutes you could put a box together here with recycled materials. It's a simple example here, but it will save you a lot of time compared to shopping around for finding this box, will probably cost you a small fortune. But it's just a simple example that I'm giving here. Also, for instance, if your son's or your daughter's birthday is just around the corner, with a little bit inventiveness, you could prepare a party with a homemade cake, with some things that you all make yourselves. You have a lot of fun, and you could have this party without have to settle for an astronomical bill. Here, this card tells us that originality, it's the order of the day. So here we are urged to start to think out of the box and ask ourselves if this is really needed, that we shop around, if we can do it ourselves here. Are there certain things that you can do differently? So here we are asked to take some time here and to stimulate our own creativity in any way we can, and think about what we could do to be more creative in our housekeeping, regarding our children, regarding our work, and at the same time save money. So here we are asked with this card to make room for our imaginative spirit in the kitchen, in the office, in your surroundings here. So we are asked here to approach things in a different way. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of resettlements of debts. What does this card tell you? Well, probably it points that you have certain things that are not paid. Maybe these are certain debts. Maybe you have accumulated certain debts here. Sometimes also it points that if there's more debts, that we should develop a repayment strategy. For some people, this can be minor, these expenses here. It depends on your personal situation. But of course, this card tells us also not to be discouraged here. If you have overspent a little bit, maybe you overspend a little bit during certain holidays. Maybe you spend a little bit too much during Valentine, for instance, because this is part of it that we are seeing here. But also, this card tells us, this one here, that we cannot give up before we started here. We need to learn an important lesson, and maybe sometimes next time we need to be wise and don't spend too much. Anyway, here, if we have several debts, we should write them down, see what the rates are, especially if there are more than one here, and then we need to see which have the priorities. The priorities, of course, are those, if this is on credit cards, the credit cards that cost you the most. If you don't know what is your most expensive credit cards, well, in general, it's the one that keeps giving you money, even though it's already low below zero. If you have such a card, also you should double check on the interests of such cards, because mostly these cards, they are sharks. It's no longer business, but they really shark you. So you need to be careful here that that you are aware of this. From such a card, you should take your distance here, and it's wise also to dispose of it. I know sometimes it's hard, but this costs you a lot of money if you have such a card in your possession here. Anyway, we are urged here to put some cash in the most expensive card here, and the more you put there, the less charges you will pay on this expensive card. It's good. It's a start here for getting balanced out with certain arrears. Anyway, also when we are in a certain debt mode, if this is the case with this card, we must spending. This card tells us more money, and we must take charge of our financial situation. We must pull ourselves together here, and when you have reduced certain debts, you will be able to restore a less restrictive lifestyle. The reason why we probably are in these problems is probably that we bought presents for some people around us. Maybe, as I said, this is the hangover that we have of Valentine here. And here this card tells us here we have several different holidays throughout the years, and most of them have become very commercial. Let's give the example, for instance, for Christmas here. It's not about you buy a box of chocolate for your loved ones or a small gift here, but in general, this is that we buy in abundance. In general, in the rest of the year, we are very careful what we do, we balance, but mostly when there are holidays coming up on, or when there is Valentine, we spend in abundance, especially with Christmas here. And for giving the example of Christmas, here we see that during those holidays, they turn not into, they are no longer sacred holidays. They are celebrations of abundance, and nobody controls themselves anymore. This is what this card tells us here. We have goodwill the rest of the year, but during certain holidays, we spend money and we overspend money. And sometimes the middle card here is what we saw earlier here. The result is that this results in certain debts and monies that we need to pay back here. The month later, we need to pay back. We see the invoices, and then you open the envelope and you think, or you see in your phone or in your laptop, and then you think, really? And then you realize actually what you spend, and it gives, of course, a kind of hangover here. And this card, it wants you also to learn the origins of these things, the origin of Christmas, the origin of Easter, the origin of Valentine's. Inform you what yourself, what they actually mean here. It doesn't matter if it's your belief or not. It's not about belief systems here. It's about for putting things back in their context and giving their real value and meaning here. Here we need to put these celebrations in historical context. So we need to give them back their sincere meaning, instead of connecting them to overconsumption. So don't be fooled here in the future by advertising, by marketing for certain holidays. These are expressions of feelings that you do. It's not about quantity here that should come first, but you should here pay attention here to your loved ones and not overspend. So Aquarius, this is all for the Shell or the Water group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are immediately connected here. If you have interest in the classic Lenormand card readings, they are more focused on work and business, so you can find information there about that. And then we have the spiritual guided card readings. They are very good guides, and they give a lot of additional information to the other card readings that we are doing. Anyway, you are free to check it out. Anyway, thank you for doing so, and of course, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Anyway, Aquarius, this is all for now, and see you next time. Bye bye for now. Hello Aquarius, and welcome to the Aerosol or the Air group. for your philosophical financial card reading. As your first card here, we see the card of visual reminders. What does this card means? Well, it probably means that we are a user or a frequent user of our credit cards, as most of us here. Sometimes also it means that we have very good intention for not using the credit cards too much for spending, but sometimes it means that we are a little bit overspending here. Sometimes here this card wants us to reflect over the necessities, the importance of the items that we are buying. Maybe you're a very, because we have the card of creativity here, maybe you're a very creative type, and here we are urged sometimes to be more creative and see about the importance that you collect in your basket before you go to the cashier. This points to superficial spending. This card tells you, did you do it again? It asks you, and this card wants to help you to reduce those tendencies. It wants you to set up a visual reminder system, that's for first, but also it wants you to observe yourself, your own habits. It tells us that if you have overconsumption tendency, you should control them more. How can we do this? Well, for instance, we could put a small reminder in the corner of your credit card, something that makes you think. You put some tape on it, the transparent tape, and you under there you put something that reminds you that you're gonna spend too much again. And as you hand over, or if you put the card, you're about to put the card on the machine for paying, you will think about it. And this is the intention. It makes you really mentally validate if your shopping is essential. Also, this is about online shopping. Most of us these days, we shop a lot online. And this card tells you maybe also it's a good thing for changing your passwords. Passwords that make you think twice. Like for instance, I just give an example here. You change your password in truly necessary, or reasonable, or really necessary. And such a password here, it will force you to think twice here before you make such a transactions. Of course, you will need to change these visual aids periodically, because your brain will get used to the visual aids on the long run, and at a certain time you will pay no longer attention. So you will need to change here. So be creative, this card asks you, and administer small reminders and adjust your this tendency here for superficial spending. The next card is about that we have debts. We all have debts. We have positive debts. We have negative debts. We start with the negative debts. This could mean that you have certain credit cards that you have a debt on. Here, for instance, if we bought articles and our credit card, it's not balanced out at the end of the month. We know if we don't put the card on zero, we pay interests. This is what we call a bad investment, and also a bad interest here. This is a bad debt that we are seeing here. This is actually like a bad loan. It has no economical value for you, because the only thing that is good is for the company. They are very happy that you spend again and that you are below zero, because for them it's a very lucrative business that you give them. The other side of this card is the positive debts. What are positive debts? Well, you probably have some mortgage on your house. With mortgages, we can deduct this from our taxes, and that is considered a positive debt. Why? Well, there's very few things that have value now, but mostly land and our houses, it's quite stable. So it means that mostly our house or land that we bought, it's stable in value, and mostly the value goes up. And even though we pay rents, because we deduct this from our yearly taxes, and the property goes up in value, we actually benefit from this. So here, this card tells you to be careful with negative loans. If you need to make certain investments in your house, maybe this is a good period, and this is a good investment that you are about to make some adding to that. Here we are urged to take care if we have bad interests to get rid of them, and invest in more valuable things. This is what we are seeing here. We need to invest in things that contribute to our personal wealth. The last card that we see here is the card of creativity. What does this card tell us? Well, it tells us that we live in a world where we can buy everything. Our current society, it suffocates our for starters, our wallet, and it also suffocates our imagination. And in the end, we pay for something that probably is in our mind and we can do ourselves. For instance, for giving an example, if some celebration or some birthday is coming up from relatives, in a short time, you probably could design with some recycled materials a nice storage box here, but mostly we prefer to walk around in the mall for hours, and sometimes we pay a small fortune for such things. Here we need to ask, can we not do this ourselves? Of course you can, this card tells you, because else I would not be here. If your son's birthday, for instance, is around the corner, maybe instead of buying everything in the supermarket, you could prepare a cake yourself, you could throw a party yourself, and you are not confronted here with an astronomical bill if you are creative yourself and you do things yourself. Here with this card, originality is the order of the day. So here we are asked to literally start thinking out of the box and ask yourself if this is really necessary, or can you do it yourself? How could you feel these needs differently? Well, you could do it by being more creative. So here this card asks you to ask yourself that question and think what you could do to be more creative in your personal relationships and buying gifts, but also in general in your life. Here we are asked to be more creative here, and at the same time we can save money if you do so. So here we are asked to make room for our imaginative spirit in the kitchen, in the office, in our housekeeping, in our family here. So we should embark here on that adventure. So Aquarius, this is all for the Aerosol group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. If you have interest in work, business card readings, you can find those also on my channel. We do this with the classic Lenormand card reading. Also, we have spiritual philosophical card readings, and these give very good additional information for your life. So you can check it out. You lose nothing. The more we know, the wiser we get. So Aquarius, I want to thank you for your time. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time, Aquarius. Thank you and bye-bye for now. Hello Pisces, hello Aquarius, and welcome to the Stone Group for your financial philosophical card reading. As the first card here, Aquarius, we see the heavy card of the deck. It means that probably you're in a severe financial situations. For instance, for independent persons, it means that they are in difficulties. Maybe the business is not going so well and they're heading to very difficult. Sometimes this means that you are on the road to bankruptcy. Maybe these are bad economical times. Maybe your business don't work well. Maybe it's a combination of things here, but this is the heavy card of the deck. Anyway, it means probably that in the night we sometimes wake up, we worry about money. We have reached probably certain deficits. Maybe that for some people this points to that we are arriving at a point of no return. And if you are, for instance, an independent here, we should consider, or we could consider certain options. Maybe we visit a bankruptcy specialist here. But of course, before we start that, especially signing an agreement, you should inform yourself well, consult more than a professional, evaluate all the choices that are offered to you, advantages, disadvantages, make sure that you understand the impact of this process very well for your present and for your future. It means also probably that you probably need to adjust your lifestyle radically, your consumption habits. For people who have a job, maybe you overspend money and you are in a very difficult situation also. It could be overspending. It could be that you have been confronted with a certain condition in your life, or something happened into your life and you have a lot of expenses, and you are in this same situation. You cannot move anymore. You don't know what to do anymore. Sometimes what we can do is also we go to a social assistant in the area where we live, maybe in our community, and these people mostly are available for free, and they could help you for solving your financial problems. Maybe they can work out a plan for you for slowly repaying certain debts, because probably you came in this situation due to certain reasons. Anyway, if you are not yet, both groups are not yet reached that point here, but you still have financial worries here, this card tells us that immediate modification of our behavior is necessary. If you don't, this is the last warning card. This tells you if you continue like this, probably you will hit the wall. So here we should reflect wisely over our situation, whatever they may be. This is the last this is the final call here that we are seeing here. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of overconsumption. So we all know that we live in a world of overconsumption. Why do we overconsume? Well, we have a lot of advertisement around us, and sometimes we don't know anymore. The definition of essential is no longer clear to us. For our parents, it was more clear, and especially for our grandparents, because they had less options, they have less credit cards, they had no credit cards here, and they were more aspired to provide for basic necessities. But also the times have changed. We need to include that today our basic necessities almost obligate us to have a smartphone, or essential is a cell phone. We need internet access, and sometimes also of course, we need to travel also if this would be already possible during this period. Anyway, society has evolved, and some essentials have been deplaced here. And here we are asked to evaluate our real needs within this new society. Things that are no longer necessary, you should get rid of here. But also this. With all this technology that is around us, with all these possibilities, we should ask ourselves also questions with this card. And we should ourselves ask the question, are we happier than our ancestors? Sometimes this is a question that is difficult to answer. But in general, it don't come, because we can buy a lot, it doesn't necessarily make us happy. Hyperconsumption also, sometimes it blinds us. It blinds us to the real happiness that we could have. So here we are asked to determine what are your minimum needs. And here we should eliminate non-essential expenses, especially with the previous card there, if we are in a difficult situation. And also sometimes we should ask ourselves, would we worse off without all these superficial attributes? So here we are asked to live according to more basic needs, not what society dictates us or suggests us. Your mind and wallet, it will be better off. The last card is the card of budget. Of course, it's here. It means that we need to implement certain budgeting in our work here. Here we are asked to make a planning. So this reading is very good in context with each other here, and we need to make a serene planning. This card is about planning here. We need to literally become accountant for our problems here. For some people, this is easy and they can make this an easy task. For other people, it's impossible to account. So you need to determine for yourself if you are the budget accountancy type or not. Sometimes also this card is about that we are about to expect, maybe we have planned something in the future. Maybe we need to buy something, we have obligated to buy even though we are in a severe difficulties, we still are obligated to buy certain things. maybe this is something that is important for you, and you have made a calculation, but this card tells us that you might have miscalculated, and maybe you didn't foresee certain things. And here, this card tells us that we are probably about 10% off. This is what this card is about. This means that there is a flaw in calculation that you have made. So you should foresee more money than you have foreseen for now here. So this is the card also that tells you that probably more expenses will come than you have foreseen. So here also it tells us that we no longer can be stubborn for certain things. We need to adjust ourselves. We need to find alternatives here for getting back on track here. What you can do also, this card tells us, instead of always using credit cards, is paying cash. Why? Well, if you pay cash, you actually have a feeling of the money. Why? It's in your wallet, you see it, you hand it over to the cashier, and when the money is gone, you see actually that it's gone. And every time you hand over, it gives you a pain reaction in your brain. So sometimes it's wise also, if we are in difficulties, financial difficulties, to pay cash for a while. It's more easy to balance ourselves out. So Aquarius, this is all for the Stone Group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. If you have interest in the classic Lenormand card readings, we use those for the work business card readings. You can find those also on my channel. And we do also the spiritual philosophical card readings. They are very good guides, especially if you are in some kind of difficulties. They sometimes give additional information. So Aquarius, this is all for now. Thank you for subscribing and see you next time. Bye bye for now. Hello Aquarius, and welcome to the fire group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of good and bad debts. What is this? Well, this is also about interests. The bad debts, of course, are very easy to explain. If you have certain credit cards and they are not balanced out, it means we pay interest. These are considered bad debts. They have no value for you. They don't add to your sustainability. They have no value for you. Instead, they cost you money. This is considered as a bad debt here. Here we see also that this card urges here to get rid of those bad debts. Try to balance out if you have certain unpaid debts on credit cards here, because some of these cards, they are not normal if you have such a card. If this is not a card from your classic bank, some of these cards, they are very easy to recognize actually. This is the card that always gives you money. No matter how low it is, below zero, it keeps giving you money. The reason for this is you pay astronomical high interests. These are no longer normal credit cards. These are sharks. These people, they are no longer businessmen. This is another league that they are in. So be careful if you have such a card. Try to get rid of it, because this costs you a lot of money. The other side of this card is the positive debts. What are positive debts? Well, you have a mortgage. Why is this mortgage for? Well, for your house, of course. This is considered to be a positive debt. Why? Well, because you, for starters, you withdraw these expenses from your annual taxes. That's the first. But also, your house, there are very few things now that are valued, but mostly land and houses, they keep value. Mostly they upgrade in value, and this is what it's about. If you have intention for making some adjustments in your house, this is considered to be a positive debt. Mostly the rents are low now during this period, and if you make some adjustment, this is considered to be a positive debt. So if you have plans, this card tells you this is a good investment, especially in your home or in land. These are good investments. This is what this card tells us. Anyway, we should invest here, this card tells us, in things that contributes to more stability and more wealth for ourselves here. And we should think about the debts that we have. The next card is the card of food. What does this card tells us? Well, it tells us that food is important in our current society. We need to be aware. This card has also, it has two ways. It could mean that maybe you should eat more healthy, or you should take care of your body more. This could be one of the possibilities here. Maybe we eat unhealthy, maybe we take too much takeout food. And this card urges us maybe to change certain patterns in our life here. We live in a hectic world here, and maybe this, because you always buy takeout foods, it has an effect on your budget. This could be a kind of overspending, and because we buy always takeout foods, also we need to work harder. But this card wants us to take a different approach. It tells us to cook more ourselves, buy some fresh vegetables, make some time for cooking here. I know it's easy to buy takeout foods, but it also costs a lot of money. And it's easy to buy in the restaurant or buy a gourmet dish in the mall. I'm aware here, but here this card tells you to do the opposite here. If you want to manage your expenses here, try to cook yourself here. Devote yourselves more to your pot and your pans here, and reduce the expenses if you can here. You will reduce, of course, the consumption of these takeouts here, and you will need to spend less time in your work because you spend less. So here we are urged not to overspend anymore and spend more time in home cooking. You will learn to enjoy the culinary art again. Maybe before you cooked a lot, but it's all changed now. But if you do so, you will eat better, you will eat healthier, and of course you will be financially better off, because we have the card here that we need to implement some financial changes. Is the card of financial education, not only for ourselves, but also for our children. This is the card of financial lessons for our children here. What does this card tell us? Well, probably also in your area where you live, the money don't fall from the trees. This is what we see here with this card, and this is about household management. These cards are close to each other here, and we see here that we can easily see if our children have financial overviews. What does this mean? Well, for instance, you go in the mall with the children here in your basket, and they come up with some gadget or with some toy, and you say, and they ask, Mom, Dad, can I? And you say, no, you cannot now. It's not possible. And then you get the question like, why not? Your wallet is full of credit cards. And this is what this card is about. It means that there is some lack in the financial education of your children here. This card tells us that it's utopian to think that they could easily manage in this hyper-consuming world if you yourself as a parent don't turn them into knowledgeable consumers here. So here we are urged to talk to our children about money. If there are certain taboos, we are asked here to break these taboos. We should inform them and make them aware of healthy practices regarding money and turn them into knowledgeable consumers. This is what this card is about. By teaching them the workings of a good foundation, you will greatly help them for the rest of their life and help them budgeting. So Aquarius, this is all for the fire group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this the short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit your role, check the other three that are connected here. It depends in which group you belong. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. If you have interested in work business card readings, you can also find these. I do these with the classic Lenormand card readings, and you get a very good overview what is about to happen, or you get more clarity in your work situation. We also do spiritual philosophical card readings. These are a total different approach, and if you put the three together, you get a nice picture what is about to happen for the coming month. Anyway, Aquarius, I want to thank you for your time, and of course I thank you for subscribing to my channel. See you next time, Aquarius. Bye bye for now.